I'm seeing Boston. I'm seeing San Diego, Milwaukee, Miami. Pritak says he loves my suit. Thank you very much. Thomas says, I've let my hair grow. Yeah. Yes, that happened. Silicon Slopes, Fort Worth, Texas. Gosh, people from all over the world. Right, it's 2 minutes past the hour. I think we should kick this game off. Well, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, and welcome everybody to the 11th Data Fam Community Jam. Today, we are announcing the winners of the 2020 Iron Viz feeder.
Yes.
There's at least one person on this call very excited. I'm Andy Cotgreave, evangelist at Tableau, co-host of Iron Viz, and I'm joined by my fellow host, Keisha Rose. Keisha, how are you? You're looking amazing today.
Thank you very much. You know, it's always nice to get sparkly this early in the morning.
This is just every day for you and I, right? This is they thought this was just a keynote thing, right?
No. This is just a regular occurrence.
Absolutely. All right. So thank you to everybody who's joined us today from wherever you are across the world. Thanks so much. Now, before we get into the Iron Viz section of this, Keisha, do you just want to tell everybody a little bit about what the Data Fam Community Jam is, has been, and will be?
Absolutely. Yeah, this is the 11th installment of the Data Fam Community Jam, and it's been a collaboration between the Tableau Fringe Festival and Tableau putting things on together. Now, since we all can't be in person during these Corona times, as you can see, we're all joining from the comfort of our own homes. They have put on a series of events that help connect across the globe with the Tableau community. And it's actually organized by some folks we have on the call here as well. We've got Emily Kuhn, Kevin Furlich, Sarah Bartlett, Lorna Eden, Alex Walczek, and our very own Jordan Scott from Tableau. And first of all, just thanks to all of those guys for putting on this great session. Like, yeah, thousands of people have been joining. What a great way to connect globally. But today, Andy and I, we are taking over for an Iron Viz special. But, you know, just in case someone out there doesn't know what Iron Viz is, Andy, you want to give them a little background?
Yeah, absolutely. So Tableau Public, this little thing launched 10 years ago this year, 10 years. If you don't know what Tableau Public is, it's a platform that anybody can use and anybody can download Tableau Public or Tableau Desktop and publish their data analysis interactively and embed it somewhere, anywhere, so anybody around the world with an internet connection can see it. We've had over 1 billion views. We've got hundreds of thousands of users, and it's helped organizations share their data. But I think more importantly, it's helped the community grow in their data storytelling, Tableau, and data analysis skills. Now, way back in 2010, 2011, product marketing at Tableau was run by Ellie Fields, and on her team was Ross Perez. And they came up with this idea, crazy idea, the interactive Viz Contest they launched. It became Iron Viz at the first conference. And the idea was, we have a feeder competition. We ask you, the public, to build a Viz around a theme using any data set. They get judged, and then 3 winners progress onto a live final at Tableau conference. And at the live event, the contestants build a Viz live with a common data set, and the best one wins. Pretty cool, right, Keisha? And I wanted to share a little bit of history from that.
What you got for us, Andy?
Yeah, so this was back in 2011, and I just wanted to show what it took to win a feeder in 2011. So what you can see my screen, right, yes. Keisha? Excellent. Yes. I have got one thing right so far. Yeah, so this, by Alex Kerin, is one of the 3 Vizes that won the 2011 feeder competition. And it's just brilliant. As we look at this with our 2020 eyes, it looks so primitive. But just think, this was cutting edge of Tableau and dashboard design 10 years ago. So, you know, congratulations to Alex and Dan and Steve who got into the final that year. Something I did like about this Viz is it had a Cotgreavian tooltip. So for all you young kids who only started using Tableau in the last 2 years, you didn't used to be able to put charts in tooltips, and we had to use ASCII characters to fake it. So nice work, Alex. But obviously from there, things got increasingly sophisticated. The crowds got bigger, the costumes got shinier, the shoes got more expensive, but more importantly, the Vizes became more complex and more mind-blowing. But not just for complexity's sake. It was all in the interest of telling deep, rich, enlightening stories. So it's just been brilliant for me. You know, I've been at Tableau since this started, and it's incredible seeing how it grew. So that's the history of Iron Viz, and we've made some changes this year, Keisha. So what's in store for the 3 prize winners we're announcing today?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first of all, we've got our top 10 qualifiers overall, and that's from, what was it, 370 plus entries?
Yeah, because I forgot to talk about the topic this year.
Well, nobody told the topic. What was the topic for the theater?
I'll tell you about this year. So it was health and wellness. We chose that topic. It's been an unusual year.
You know, it's tough.
Things changed. So we wanted to give people a chance to think about health and wellness, whether that is about COVID-19 and its impact or about any other aspect of that theme. And you said the number. We had over 372 entries this year, which blew us away completely. And more astonishingly and happiness is 86% of those were first-time entrants. And that to me just shows the power of this community and this growing willingness to learn and develop skills. So thank you and congratulations to every single person who entered or helped somebody else who entered something into Iron Viz. So that's what's happened this year. Keisha, the prizes have also increased.
Of course. I mean, it's important to know, what are we going for here? What's the goal here? The prize at the end. So of those 370 plus entries, they've been whittled down to top 10 qualifiers. Now, all top 10, they'll get an awesome Tableau swag package, but more importantly, the glory of being in the top 10 Iron Viz finalists. Then from that top 10, we'll have our top 3, and those folks will join us at Tableau Conference-ish to join us for a live Iron Viz session, as Andy mentioned. Hot and heavy going at the same time. Oh my gosh, super exciting. Now, what will they win? All of them will get passes to Tableau Conference next year, and they'll all get wonderful cash prizes. The 3rd place winner will get $2,000 in cash, and then an extra $1,000 to give to their favorite nonprofit. 2nd place, bump it up to $5,000 cash money and $2,000 to donate. And our 1st place grand prize winner, they get 10 grand. That's right, wow. $10,000 and an additional 5 grand to a very lucky favorite nonprofit. But today we're going to focus on all 10, but of course, we're going to start with the honorable mentions, right? You'll get to the 3 at the end, but we gotta start with the who got here. Where did this pool come from? That's
a hefty prize fund. Did you enter, Keisha? I was tempted.
Oh, I should have entered. I don't know. Are we allowed?
I don't think we're allowed, and I don't think I'm good enough actually anymore. Maybe back in 2011 when.
Yeah, I don't know. I think my skills are a little rusty.
Yeah. The prize was an iPad back in 2011, I think, or $500. But anyway, so the stakes are high. And as Keisha said, we're going to show you the top 10 down to numbers 10 to 4 in a moment. How do we judge these? That's an interesting question. Each entry is judged across 3 criteria. That's going to be analysis, design, and storytelling. We're going to investigate how those work a little bit later when we've shown you some of the entries. So wait on for that. And there are 2 rounds of judging. And in fact, I'm going to share my screen so you can see the beautiful judges that we had here. So let's just get right. So there's 2 rounds of judges. First up, in round 1, we get volunteers from the community who have each looked at over 50 of the entries. There's also been a bunch of the Tableau team looking at entries, making these judgments on analysis, design, and storytelling. A shortlist is then created, which goes on to our second round of judges. And there we've got some luminaries from the wider field of data viz and healthcare. So we had Amanda and Anne and Shirley and John and Stu from Under Armour. And they are the people who then settle on the top 3. And there's lots of discussion. It's a really remarkable process, but that's how we get it down to the top 10 that we are going to announce now. Now, I think we're almost ready, Keisha, but look, we use the hashtag. If you're excited about this, tell us in the comments, but also go nuts on social media. Hashtag Iron Viz and hashtag DataFam Community Jam. I believe that is, but you can just use hashtag Iron Viz. Anyway, so
create it now.
yeah. Also, what you're going to see in the bottom right of every screen, you will see a QR code. So if you want to go and see the interactive version of the Viz we're showing, the QR code in the bottom right, just get your phone out, scan that, and that will take you to the Viz. All right. Keisha, are we ready?
Is it time?
I think it's time, isn't it?
Oh, I'm ready. Let's go.
Good. Right. So we are going to go from 10 to 4.
Yes.
And Keisha, I believe you get the honor.
We started up. All right.
The first one.
Well, up first, drum roll of our 10 qualifiers is Emily de Padua. I'm sure I'm butchering your name, but All by Myself. I actually really liked this Viz. It has a really interesting way that she analyzed her own time that she's spending in the past few months during this pandemic. And it talks about, loneliness. What does it actually mean to be lonely? Thinking about virtual, like this, virtual meetings versus in-person meetings. But I also like that you could explore the hobbies. Oh, thank you. This is exactly what I was talking about. You can see how those hobbies change, right? A lot of TV watching, which I myself also have been doing a little bit more of lately. But you can see what else like maybe dropped off too as well. I love the exploration here. It's really exciting.
Yeah, embroidery. Yeah, there's been a lot of embroidery going on in my house. Not by me, but there's been a lot of mask making. Yeah, this is fantastic, isn't it? I mean, there's a really great story. I like how Emily also did this all on a single screen. So, you have to interact to pull the story out. I think that was really, really interesting. It's also one of many where people looked at data about themselves, I think, which is a really nice way to go, right?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Should we look at number 9?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Okay, so congratulations, Emily. But number 9 is... it's Sue Grist with her Viz on organ donations. So here, again, we have another crisp, concise, non-fluffy, it's just really good precision, to the point storytelling. The charts are basic, the fonts are readable, the flow is obvious, and there's a really good call to action. And when I say the charts are basic, I do not mean that in a derogatory way. The charts are basic so people can get to the insight with very little cognitive work. So I think Sue made a really smart set of decisions to create a lovely looking Viz. Keisha, did you have anything else on that one?
I just really like how she hits you with the facts. Like even from the get-go, the every 10 minutes, that number going up, like really gets you that nice big font, clear, crisp Vizes. Yeah, definitely. I even learned some things just looking through this Viz I didn't know. It was very interesting.
Yeah, excellent. All right. Okay, Keisha, you're on number 8.
That's right. Number 8, we've got up next. Here we go. Who's it going to be? It's Klaus Schultz with the Ischl spread. And again, I'm so sorry if I'm butchering these names. This one took a look at the spread of the coronavirus from Ischl throughout the rest of Europe. And I was immediately impressed with the animation with this and the interactivity. Again, hit that QR code if you can to take a chance and look. Even on your phone, this looks great. But allowing you to hit through each of these different story points and then showing the animations to change with the narration was fabulous. I think it's also interesting to look at maybe some possible causes, like the turnover rate of tourists and how many are coming from outside of the area. It was really great, really nicely well done. Oh yeah, perfect, you got the animations here, just stellar.
Yeah, absolutely. I think again, the story, the amount I learned from here, I think we'll talk about the mobile aspect of this a little bit later, but these animations, man, I mean, again, what Klaus has done here is really next level stuff, right? He's using extremely complicated behind the scenes techniques to create simple charts that animate from one to the other, so that you get a really good end user experience. So he's taken animation to a level I don't think even our developers quite anticipated it could be done. If you download this one and try and pick it apart, it's quite an adventure to look at. So exceptionally well done from Klaus. All right. So that's Klaus. Now I can't advance my slides. There you go. Number 7. I think this is me.
It is.
Number 7. Who is it? It is Eric Balash with Finding Her Reflection. So this Viz is a story of Anna Salmanovich's journey from Olympic prospect to an advocate of mental health. It's about her journey of trying to get in the Olympics and not quite making it, and then what happened as a result of this. Now, what the judges and what I liked about this is that it's a really clever story that talks about an individual, but also then applies the story of an individual to an analysis of mental health across a population. Again, really simple chart types. Again, there's not much hard work required of the reader to interpret the data itself. Judges also like the way that the image at the top formed a headline, and the structure just invites you to learn a lot about the issue. So excellent work there from Eric. Did you have anything on this one, Keisha?
Yeah, I really like the year by year navigation on the left-hand side. So you kind of follow the story while you're looking at the different charts. Like, yeah, there's just that tie-in, like you mentioned, from actual, US-wide data to a really personal story. It was really an interesting juxtaposition.
Yeah, and what I haven't recorded here is the interactivity and the way the story reveals again. So if you check this out with the QR code, you'll get a sense of how that story unfolds. Over to you, Keisha, for number 6.
All right, up next with our 6th finalist, it's Brendan Gu with What's the Deal with Diets? What I thought was really interesting. Very, again, nice, minimalistic, clean style. I'm saying this is a nice theme this year, which I love. But he was looking at the increasing popularity of different diets, what actually works, what doesn't, what could be dangerous. There was one on here about the cotton ball diet, which I had never heard of, and that sounds terrifying. Don't do that.
It doesn't sound good to me. I can't see it on the screen here, but yeah.
Good idea. No. And as you can see here, we've got this like trellis chart of these radar charts, so you can do an easy, quick comparison of the different factors of each diet. Makes it really easy to compare, which is I like this particularly a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, it's like Sue Grist's work on the organ donations. Great use of white space, crisp and clear and powerful. And you know something? I have a soft spot for radar charts. They're like my data viz guilty secret, right? Yeah. You know, they are a very maligned chart type because why put categorical stuff around an axis? You know, you can't really compare whether this bit is bigger than this bit or that bit. And I'm like, yeah, I get that. But you know what? I've worked on some projects where you have to learn to understand, and eventually at a glance, you can realize what the characteristics are by the shape of this that this radar makes, right? So I've always liked radar charts. I didn't judge this one, so I didn't influence the scoring on this, but I think, you heard it here, Keisha.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, Andy. Actually, when I first started at Tableau, the role I was in, you had to have a Tableau dashboard, and I used radar charts in mine.
I mean, they do have their flaws, right? Don't everyone go out and just make radar charts.
Yeah, you can't, it's like a hammer and a nail. You know, you don't use them for everything, but I think in this easy comparison, definitely.
Yeah,
definitely
my phone's ringing. That must mean somebody is trying to tell me I'm fired for liking radar charts. If you can hear my phone, sorry, I don't know why.
No, I think we're good. But you know, this is the joys of
it's answering now anyway. It's a junk call. I'm just going to throw my phone out of this office. I'll be back
in the next room.
Oh, it's my mum. Hi, Mum. Hi. Oh, she's leaving a voicemail.
Just in case you guys are wondering, yes, this is live.
That is not the first time my parents have featured in a Tableau webinar of some sort. It has happened before. Anyway. I'm disappointed they're not actually watching this webinar. Is your mum and dad watching, Keisha?
I don't know if they are. We'll see.
All right, where on earth are we? We were talking about radar charts.
Number 5.
Number 5. Who's doing this one? Is this me? This is me.
That's you.
All right, number 5. We got number 5 and number 4, and then we're going to have a pause. Number 5 is Simon Lafosse with Under My Skin. So this is a deep exploration of the socioeconomic and health impacts of skin color around the world. Believe me, this is an encyclopedia of content in one Tableau workbook. I learned a huge amount. And what I like about this is that there's subtle use of interactivity, right? It's there when you need it and if you like it. And he's also adopted some of the techniques that have been sort of bumbling around and developed around by the community in the last 12 months. This one on screen, it's an interactive slider that lets you move the slider from left to right and look at the world in terms of UV index or in terms of dominant skin color of people from that part of the world. And you know, this interactivity is brilliant because it allows you to see a correlation between 2 data points or 2 data sets without it being directly plotted, right? The correlation emerges as you slide from left to right. And I think that's a really nice application. So excellent work from Simon. Keisha, what's your thoughts?
This one I thought not only was it, this particular slider I really liked. And I also like that Simon included a chance for you to put in your own demographics and then see how things change based on those different areas, really making it a personal visualization as well. Great message too, just in general.
Yeah, great stuff. Okay, so we've got one more to announce before we'll bring on some new guests. Keisha, bring this bit home.
Yeah, here we go. Our number 4 of our 10 qualifiers here is Diego Parker with the Inequality Pandemic. Now, this particular viz took a look at the economic inequalities and how that affects different COVID-19 cases across different regions in Latin America. Now, I really thought this was an interesting display. Like we mentioned, we always tend to see a long form, but this one has more of a button narration from page to page. I thought it was really nice use of the Tableau buttons, which I'm assuming he used. I want to dig deeper myself and see exactly how Diego did this. But overall, just a really great viz, allows you to interact and see those changes over time. I think it's from March to July. You can see how different poorer areas compared to the more affluent areas. Also looking at hospitals, private versus public, what is actually available for folks who need care. And extra bonus, did you notice that you can do this in both English and Spanish?
Yeah, I did. That was the bit I was going to add. If you just watch the video here, is it playing? Click that, and the whole thing goes from English to Spanish, right? It's just, it's really, really clever. And again, you know, you and I know that implementing that is really hard. But going that extra, you know, if you're going to do something that your end users have to engage with, you know, sometimes you have to make it's hard to make things simple, right? And that's certainly something we see in Iron Viz feeders. Right, I believe that is the end of this little section. In a few minutes, everybody, we have the top 3. But before we get to the top 3, we've got 2 community judges to talk a little bit more about the judging process, what they've seen, and what they think of what we've seen so far. So, as if by magic, Kevin and Emily's webcams are going to appear. Look at that. It's almost like we rehearsed this. They got this right. They haven't been phoned up by their mum halfway through a webinar. Or maybe they have. I don't know. Maybe their parents are watching. All right, Kevin, Emily, say hi. Just actually, just tell us a little bit about, well, actually introduce yourselves. Kevin, for those who don't know.
Kevin Flerledge, I'm a Tableau Zen Master. I share a website, the Flerledge Twins, with my twin brother, Ken Flerledge, fellow Zen Master. And I mean, the Iron Viz judging process was awesome. We each viewed 50 plus vizes, spent a lot of time on each one, saw some really great trends, saw a real step up, in my opinion, on design this year. Saw lots of really cool tricks and real new techniques using some of the new features in Tableau, some of which I can't wait to use myself. So it was a lot of fun. It was great to see so many awesome entries and so many entries in general.
Yeah, amazing, absolutely. And Emily, hi, say hi, tell us who you are, and just tell us something about the judging experience from your perspective.
Sure. So hi, everyone. I'm Emily Kuhn. I am a data visualization instructor, and accessibility is my jam. I love that. I'm also the founder of the Tableau Fringe Festival and co-host of the Tableau Wannabe podcast and Tableau social ambassador. I loved judging this year. I loved really digging into the entries. I loved the clean design that you've mentioned before. And I really love, Andy, you touched on this, the simple kind of charts, which really allowed me to really focus on the message of the data and not trying to figure out what the chart is trying to tell me. Mm-hmm. So for me, that was huge. I loved that.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Kevin and Emily. I was going to ask you something else, Emily, but now it's gone. Oh, Fringe Festival. That was it. Yeah. You just tell people about the Fringe Festival, because I think that's an amazing thing.
Oh, well, thank you so much. Yeah, we started in 2015 as a way to have to provide people with a platform who wanted to speak at conference, but for some reason couldn't attend or couldn't speak. And so it really gives community members that opportunity to share their information, share their knowledge with others, give them an opportunity to give back. But then also, because of the way we've created it with 20 and 45-minute sessions, you can really like dip your toe into the speaking pool, if you will. So we hold the conferences, we've held them traditionally for different regions, whether it's EMEA, APAC, North America, and LATAM. And this year, we are planning something really special. I can't wait.
Can you tell us now? Or can you not?
No, I'm going to tease it. Like, this is it.
Oh, Emily.
Marketing and hype.
Well, I like it. I'm all about the hype. That's great. I mean, so Kevin and Emily, look, both of you have done a huge amount for the community. I mean, I do think the Fringe Festival is really worthy of mention, because I know at the time our conference was getting bigger and we couldn't accommodate all the people who wanted to speak, and we didn't have the capacity of marketing, in the events team or in our teams at Tableau to let those passionate voices get to the airwaves, and you and the others stepped in to create that, and it's just genuinely, I mean, it blows me away how that has gathered its own momentum and become a global phenomenon. So thank you so much. And everybody, check it out. Tableau Fringe Festival. It's really, really smart.
Thank you so much, Andy.
Now, we did want to talk about analysis, storytelling, and design. Why do we want to talk about those? Because that's how all of these entries get judged. So I'm going to go through each one of these, and both of you are going to take one of the 7 vizzes we've just looked at and highlight some of the things that sort of caught your eye in each of those categories. So, Emily, we're going to talk to you first about analysis. I will endeavor to share my screen seamlessly. And which one, can you see the inequality pandemic? Oh, in fact, that's the one we're talking about, right?
Actually, this is great, because this visualization, the inequality pandemic, for me was such a great visualization with so much sound analysis. I loved how that supported the story being told. And for me, one of the most impactful insights was seeing I think it's one of the poorest cities in Bogota that had 1 bed for every 100,000 people that was dedicated to COVID patients, but yet there were 635 cases per 100,000 people. And so that really, it was simple, but just so impactful of what disparity there was in resources. For me, that was huge. And I loved how Diego stepped us through like a medical diagnosis. You know, so you had the diagnosis, or the symptoms, the diagnosis, the causes and the treatment. I just thought it was beautifully, I thought the analysis was amazing. It was sound and beautiful.
That's great. Kevin, what about you on the analysis or anything else about this one?
Yeah, if I had to pick one that really hit the mark on analysis, I would have picked this exact one. It was for every reason that Emily just said, it was really impactful. But what really got me, and you guys kind of touched on it, is most of the charts are fairly simple. We use a lot of our charts and a lot of scatter plots, and we don't, in Iron Viz, we don't have to use complicated charts. And in fact, for me, generally, I prefer it because, you know, a well-designed bar chart is gorgeous, right? But the key is it's very, very quick to insight. It's why we use so many of them in our business dashboards. Yep. And it doesn't mean that we can't use them in Iron Viz as well. So I love it for how quick it was to insight. I didn't have to really think that hard. And yeah, it was a really, really well job well done, Diego.
And you touched on analysis being your jam. You know, the fact that he's added 2 languages in this, Emily, is amazing. And, you know, at the end of this little looped video, you see his sources. You're like, wow, you know, that is some serious analysis to go and get data from so many places. So, yeah, smart work. Great work, Diego. Okay, next up is storytelling. So to give us an idea of some ways that storytelling really stands out, Kevin?
Yeah, for me, it was an obvious one. I picked Eric Balish's Finding Her Reflection. This is a really interesting viz as it talks about an Olympic hopeful swimmer who actually attended the University of Cincinnati, which is 20 minutes from my home. And it tells the story about how she was injured and then couldn't swim any longer. And after that point, she started to suffer from depression and some mental health issues. So ultimately, what's so good about the storytelling is it tells the story from her perspective and then supplies this sort of more general information about the population of people that suffer from mental health issues. So it not only aggregates the data up, but it also disaggregates it so we get this sort of bring in this element of data humanism. So he also uses, and I think Keisha mentioned it before, if you click on the year label there, it's actually a collapsible container and it kind of unfolds the story for you. So you get this sort of piece of information just so much that you can easily digest it. When you're done looking at that information, you move on to the next. I think it was masterfully done, just a top-notch storytelling viz.
Yeah, absolutely. Emily, got any thoughts on this one or storytelling?
Sure. I loved one of the aspects, and Kevin touched on it. He actually stole my thunder. And that is the data humanization, right? Like it goes beyond just this visualization and really helps us connect from Anna to the actual issue and making us care more. So for me, I thought that was really brilliant. I also, because it's hard for me to pick favorites a lot of times. I also love the storytelling in Klaus Schalte's visualization, the Eichel spread. For me, I love the context and really so much about it. So it was a tough one for me. I just couldn't pick one.
We asked you to just pick one, Emily, but
I know.
You do so much for the community. We thought we'd let you have a couple. It's fine. It's fine. What was it about the story on Klaus's that stood out?
For me, I think it was really the context. Like if you were to look at the top of the visualization where he sets the scene, and you can really see everything, his whole analysis play out by how he unfolded this story. I really thought it was brilliant. So for me, Eric's had such an amazing storytelling aspect to it. I think Klaus also had it was stellar.
Yeah, absolutely. I've got nothing else to add there, but we wanted the final category is design, and you wanted to pick one out, Kevin, about design. Which one was that?
Interestingly enough, Klaus is going to get 2 call outs. For me, I picked Klaus for design. The reason I did is if you look at this on a desktop, you'll see it's very, very narrow. And the reason is he designed this specifically for mobile. And I think it was a very, very bold choice. But when you pop it up on the mobile, it looks incredible. It's so well designed, perfectly designed for mobile. And, one of the things that I think about is when I, make a Tableau Public viz or I share something on Twitter or LinkedIn, I would gather that probably 80-90% of people are actually looking at that on mobile before they ever look at it on Tableau Public. So mobile design, very, very important. And I just applaud him for just a great job of applying it for this, for Iron Viz and being bold enough to do so. So well done, Klaus.
Yeah. Yeah, nothing. And the way those animations work, I mean, that's that. He's like Neo in the Matrix. He's kind of dismantled how Tableau works. And we've said it many times. He's dismantled how Tableau works to create simple charts, right?
Right.
Dot map, tree map, bar chart. Doesn't have to be more complicated than that. So exceptional stuff. All right. Well, thanks, Camille and Evan. Kevin and Emily.
Oh, you've started it now.
Emily and Evan.
Got it.
There you go.
Camille.
You know those guys? They're amazing. Kevin and Emily, thank you very much.
Thanks for having us.
I'm going to hand it. We'll speak to you again. Oh, no, I think yeah, we'll come back to Emily in a little bit. But for now, I'm going to hand it back to Keisha.
Yes.
Who was going to talk to a couple of other luminaries.
Yeah, we've got some other folks on the line here as well. Before we get to our top three, I want to talk to you some past Iron Viz finalists. So here, first up, we've got Lindsay Poulter, who was on the stage with us just last year. Fantastic times. Thanks so much for joining us, Lindsay.
Thanks for having me.
Now, how would you describe your experience of Iron Viz?
It was such a crazy experience. It took me 5 years of being in the community and watching feeders and Iron Viz at the different conferences to even have the courage to enter. So going on stage and being in front of that many people was way outside of my comfort zone. So just from a personal perspective, doing Iron Viz really helped me gain confidence in myself. But it was such an amazing experience. Part wasn't even like the event itself. It was just all the time I got to spend with you guys and the contestants, and then just meeting everyone else who I didn't know from, like people would recognize, like everyone, you know, on Twitter kind of knows everyone, but people would come up to you because they recognize you from Iron Viz, not from Twitter. So it was just nice.
Awesome. And of course, all the fantastic.
And then just like seeing the things. Oh, my internet connection is unstable.
I was going to say that the joys of the Zoom meeting. I was like, I couldn't keep going, girl. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah. And I was just going to say, seeing all the things that the community picked up on of what I did in my Iron Viz was just not something I ever expected. So, or nothing, and I didn't plan for that to happen. So it was a fun side effect.
Yeah, that was a great moment. Andy was talking, we were talking about that earlier, those tiny moments, you know, we had that big show, but even I was like, wait, what just happened?
Yeah. You know, we had the whole, we had, you know, the amount of rehearsal from the host's perspective, it's like, we know kind of what we're meant to be doing.
Yeah.
Down to like the 5-second windows. And then we're like, hang on, Lindsay's just done something. We've only just started. What we're going to have to break.
Exactly.
And see what happened. It was brilliant. Yeah.
No, that was great. It was absolutely fantastic. I think I actually remember because we're watching the crowd, you know, we're doing the lines, and I remember just like something happened, you know, like something had changed. But no, that was fantastic. Now we just announced our, you know, those first 7 of the 10 qualifiers. What was it like the moment that you found out you qualified for the finals?
Yeah, I actually found out on Twitter, Mark Bradburn had tweeted congratulations, and that was the first person that I saw, which is so funny that he ended up being my supervisor. But when I saw that, I was like super shocked because I did not expect it in any way. There were so many different great entries, and I didn't think that mine would like fit into a typical Iron Viz type entry. So I was super surprised. And I was excited for a few moments, and then the like panic set in right away. Like, oh my gosh, what am I gonna have to do? What did I sign up for? And I don't really think the panic ever went away until the 20 minutes ended on stage, but it's a lot of emotions, but it's such a great experience.
Mm-hmm. What did you do to prepare? You mentioned, you know, the time from you find out to, okay, now you gotta get in it. What did you do?
Yeah, I'm probably the wrong person to ask that question because I had originally like set out a plan of like, here's how long I want to spend exploring the data, here's how long I want to spend building, and then here's how much time I want to practice. But then I didn't end up like practicing my Viz until I was on the plane to Vegas for the very first time. So cut it a little bit close. But I think what helped me the most was not even focusing on like the Viz or the data prep or thinking about what I wanted to do. It was just kind of working on it and then taking a break from it. And then I also talked to different contestants who had done Iron Viz in the past and kind of got their feedback, and not feedback on my Viz, but just feedback on the experience. And once I talked to them, I kind of realized that the best way for me to prepare was to just build something that I was happy with and something that stuck to my style and the type of visualizations that I like to do, and not necessarily try to do something that would please the crowd.
Yeah.
So that helped me the most.
I mean, that's what got you there in the first place, right?
Yeah, and you built one of the most business style dashboards I think we've seen in Iron Viz, right? And it won you the slot, right? You know, it was incredible.
And that's the type of stuff I like to build, so that's why I try to kind of stick to that theme.
Yeah, cool.
Awesome.
Sorry, Keisha, carry on.
No, that was it. Thank you so much, Lindsay, for your input. And thanks for coming and joining us.
Yeah.
Now, up next, we have another Iron Viz finalist, Sarah Bartlett.
Hi, Keisha.
How you doing, Sarah?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Good, good. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Excited to be here.
Yeah, this is, I mean, I feel like I should be the one, you know? I'm excited just to be a part of this that you guys have been putting on. This is fantastic. I wanted to talk to you a bit about Iron Quest, though, and you've been leading this community-led Viz competition that goes alongside Iron Viz in a monthly style. You know, can you tell me what exactly is it, and how did you start it?
Yeah, sure. So I founded Iron Quest in January 2019, and it was inspired by my Iron Viz experience. So I was in Iron Viz Europe in 2018, and following that year, I didn't enter any further Iron Vizes that year. I was all like Iron Vized out, like, because Iron Viz Europe happens first. But I had a lot of people saying, you know, oh, I don't want to enter because I'm not good enough. I'm not going to make the final. You know, what's the point? And that kind of disheartened me. And I thought, you know, there's got to be something we can do about this. So I founded Iron Quest as a way for people to practice, because we have all these great community initiatives like Make of a Monday, Workout Wednesday, Project Health Viz. But all of them really provide a data set. None of them actually ask you to go away and actually source your own data, prep your data, and then build that through to a visualization that meets the criteria for what you expect to see in Iron Viz. So that was why Iron Quest was founded. So yeah, it's been great so far.
Yeah, what types of successes have you been seeing?
I mean, it's insane, right? So we've had 324 entries to date. I've had about 22 visit the days. You see them just coming one by one. I can't keep up. And I'm just wowed by all the visualizations we see for the project. It's just so inspiring. And yeah, but I mean, what we did see as well, and it'll be interesting to see how that changes after Iron Viz, is that 78% of people that entered Iron Quest before Iron Viz this year hadn't entered an Iron Viz competition before. So I'm really intrigued to see if that stat changes.
Oh, yeah, that'd be great to see. Interesting.
Yeah.
Now, I noticed, I think you have a round of Iron Quest that's closing. Is it Monday that it's closing?
That's right, yeah. So that's Myths, Magic, and Mystery. So a super fun one.
So check that out. Look at the entry.
Especially for Andy, like being the magician, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely.
I'm not doing any magic. No magic.
Yeah, I was gonna say, this is not a request. But if you guys haven't seen Andy do any magic, that's actually quite impressive. Not even kidding. I was quite impressed
really
last time I saw it. But back to Iron Quest before we get too sidetracked. So that round is closed. But what's up next? What's the future look like for Iron Quest?
So up next, we have a mobile first round. So where we'll be designing Vizes that are designed specifically for mobile. So you've just seen Klaus's Viz, and then we had Lindsay Betzendahl had a Viz as well that was designed specifically for mobile. And I thought, you know, wouldn't it be good if we actually focused in on that area and gave people the opportunity to practice designing those type of Vizes. And for that round, I'm going to be joined by Zach Bowders, who's a Tableau ambassador. So that's going to be super fun. And people can viz any data. So if there's a data set you want to go away and visualize, now's your opportunity. So.
Great. And how do they get involved? What should they do?
So if they go to my blog, sarahlovesdata.co.uk, you'll find all the details on there, or just on Twitter, just look at the hashtag IronQuest.
And I think you also just announced a new initiative. Is this the Equity Task Force?
Yeah, that was announced yesterday, so that's super exciting. So I mean, Tableau are committed to ensuring that our community reflects, prioritizes, and elevates the diversity of its members. And we've now founded the Equity Task Force, where our goal is to improve the representation of diverse groups across the community and ensure a safe space for people to participate and grow, because we really want the community to be as diverse as possible. So there's 12 people on that task force with me, and we're going to be meeting monthly and just really driving this initiative forward.
Awesome. That's really exciting to hear. And how can folks get involved with that initiative?
Well, so watch this space. So, I mean, it was announced yesterday. There's a blog post out already. Chantilly is leading a webinar in the next few weeks on diversity. So definitely check that out. And yeah, there'll be more to come. So yeah, just watch this space.
Sounds good. All right, folks have to stay tuned. And with that, thank you so much, Sarah, for joining us and giving your input. I think maybe the crowd might be ready for the talk.
I think they probably are. I would also I want to say thanks again. You know, Iron Quest from Sarah again has just been another one of these things that creates momentum and aspects of growth for the community. So, you know, thank you to that. Something else, if you want to hear more about the judges' experiences and previews of this year's live event and a review of last year's event, we do have another webinar coming up next week. Lindsay will be back diving a little bit deeper along with a couple of other guests. So check that out. You're going to get an email after this, I suspect, with some links to all the things we've talked about. So we've got some more. Now, I did get asked to recap the 6 that we've already done. So I'm going to have to do that kind of quickly because I'm not going to show. So I'm not going to do it on the slides. But number 10 was Emily with All By Myself, Emily de Padua. Number 9 was Sue Grist with Organ Donations. Number 8 was Klaus Schultz with the Ischgl Spread. What comes after 8? 7, isn't it? All about the numbers. Eric Balash was at number 7 with Finding Her Reflection. Congratulations, Eric. Number 6 was Brendan Goo with What's the Deal with Diets. Number 5 was Simon Lafosse with Under My Skin. And number 4 was Diego Parker with the Inequality Pandemic. That, ladies and gentlemen, is your numbers 10 to 4. We've got to do the top 3. What's special about the top 3 and the order in which we're going to do them, Keisha?
Well, technically, they're not in any special order. These are just the top 3 finalists who will be joining us at the live Iron Viz competition at Tableau conference. So stick around if you want more details about that later. But I think the crowd is ready. And
I think they probably are.
They're ready to go.
Can you see Iron Viz 20 top 3 on the screen?
Yes, indeed. It looks good.
All right, let's not click too fast, too quickly.
Yeah,
Keisha.
Not quite yet. Yes.
You're going to announce the first of 3, which are not in any particular order.
Not in any particular order, just the top 3 that'll join us. First up, we have Christian Felix with The Ties That Heal, a visual exploration of social capital and COVID-19. Christian is from Tucson, Arizona, and he's been using Tableau since 2013. And this viz is beautiful, first of all, but it looks at the trends in social capital and just being able to see how that impacted COVID-19 cases across the country. Now, I love the clean layout, really well detailed. This particular visit you're showing here, I thought was extra fascinating. Each of those different lines shows different counties based on their social capital level, and taking a look at their mobility. And you can see that normally it stays pretty close together, but recently a really diverse spread across those different levels. But I also enjoyed the fact that it gave the user a chance to play with some of those factors and see what types of things might actually have more or less impact. Really great example here. What do you think, Andy?
Well, again, I like the use of strong color formatting to kind of separate the black. You know, the black and white just separates out the different sort of chapters of the viz. Really, really powerful. But I think we're going to continue asking Lindsay and Sarah.
Yeah.
Lindsay, but what do you like about Christian's viz?
I love the design choices that he used. Normally I avoid using any type of images in what I produce, but the way that they're integrated is really nice and it provides some humanization of the data. I also love the font choices and the ability to choose different cities so that I could kind of compare different places I was familiar with to see what their different metrics were.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
And Sarah?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I absolutely love this Viz. It has like a real website feel. So it almost doesn't feel like a Tableau dashboard. It feels like I'm interacting with a web page. And I really love how he alternates the background colors. So you start off with black, then it goes to a white section and a black. I think if he'd done a complete like black background throughout, it may have been a bit overpowering. So I really like how he's broken that out. I mean, yeah, it's just super clean. I like how he introduced it as a concept that we may not be familiar with. So social capital, he explains what that is. And then he explains how that has an impact on the spread of COVID, which I think is super interesting.
Yeah, you've got it right there. It's like a web page. I don't think I'd quite made that connection. You know, yeah, that's totally right. Keisha, did you have anything else to add on this one?
No, I think that's it. Do you want to do number 2, Andy?
Let's do number 2.
Do number 2. Maybe not do number 2. Reveal number 2.
I shall. Let's move on. Let's move on to the second of our third feeder winners. And the second of our third feeder winners is Alex Jones from the UK with Corona. So Alex has been using Tableau for 3 years. He started at the Information Lab. His favorite Tableau feature is Tableau Actions. They are a crucial bridge between static and interactive vizzes. And he's got a secret talent as a DJ. But he also runs, and he has been doing a lot of running during the Corona COVID-19 pandemic. And what we're seeing in this is it's just the great marriage of analysis, design, and storytelling. Mm-hmm. Design in this is really crisp. It's minimalist. It balances with white space. And he just toes the right line of not quite taking too much out to keep it clean. So I think that's very clear. The sections of the Viz are very clear. He's showing what he's done, when he's done runs, why he's done the runs, and what the progression has been and what might happen next. So there's really good storytelling in it. And the interactivity is just really nice, right? It's there if you need it. It's not a requirement. You can get a lot out of this Viz without interacting with it. But if you want to dive in, you know, here you can see the individual segments of the runs he's been doing. So you can really get an extra depth of the story if you then want to go beyond his sort of front level stuff. So really enjoyed this one. Lindsay, I believe you are a runner too. What was your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I was super interested in this one right away. He made it really engaging, even though when it's using all of his own personal data, I could look at each section and apply it to myself and think about how it, like the different ways I could visualize my running data and how it relates to his and whatnot. And he also provided some different facts that made it really easy to connect everything together. And then the design itself is just amazing. It looks so clean and simple. I would print it out and put my own running data in it and hang it on my wall. But there's also a lot of good ways to interact, so it's a really good balance.
Oh, Andy? How about, well, we'll go to Sarah next. What did you think about the Viz?
Yeah, so I mean, it's an amazing Viz. I really love how he's used white space. So he has this red section at the top where he has, quite a large white space on the right. Mm-hmm. And I think so often we feel inclined to fill white space, right? But he hasn't. And I think it creates that, real impact. And this Viz is almost like bookended by those two color blocks. So you've got the red block at the top and the blue at the bottom, which I think is a really nice touch. Mm. And, he's also overlaid all of the charts and data that he's showing with some key facts or recommendations from experts on running. So he included, for instance, if you're beginning running, like how many times a week should you run? And then he compared those recommendations with his data, which I thought personally was really interesting. And it kind of really drew me into the story because I found I was looking at what the experts said and then looking what Alex did. And did he kind of run at the right time of day or did he do the right number of runs a week? But yeah.
Excellent. Sorry, I muted my microphone.
There you
Forgot
go.
to unmute it. That's why you couldn't hear me. Thank you for stepping in, Keisha. You're the professional. All right, Keisha, I think we have one more
Yes.
finalist to announce. Are you ready to do it?
Oh, I'm ready.
You're good. Here we go.
Our last of our 3 finalists is Simon Beaumont with the Human Development Index. Simon comes from LIS UK, and he's been using Tableau for about 5 years. He says he's inspired by minimal design, and we can clearly see that with this entry. He also says he enjoys cooking, that he's pretty good at it. I don't know, we'll dig more into that later. But in this particular viz, he takes a look at how the Human Development Index has changed over time and different factors that can have an impact on it. I really liked the couple of pieces of easy interactivity he added with different buttons, and you could differently take a look at different continents and compare all the countries, and also taking a look at each individual index that makes up the Human Development Index and comparing them for each country as well. And then after all of that data exploration, he lets you explore even more at the end with some additional filters and parameters to play with. Lindsay, what did you think of this entry?
Yeah, Simon did a really great job. The first thing that I noticed when I was looking at it was the sidebar that kind of guides you from the beginning to the end. I really liked how you could look there and find the legends or different information, key points, ways to interact. I thought it was a really good way to draw the user's eye down and make them understand what the most important things are. And it's definitely a feature that I would like to use in my vizzes in the future.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was quite nice. I really love that. Like you said, the kind of trail as you're going down. That was great. Sarah, what did you think? Oh, get the
Sorry, I couldn't get my mouth.
But
It's not me this time. It's not me.
Speechless.
I'm saying nothing.
I mean, the design is just so elegant, right? He's paid attention to every single last little detail. And like Lindsay said, I really love this bar that runs throughout the viz and just really guides you and tells you where to look. Similar to the other 2 vizzes we've just seen, actually, he introduces a question and then answers it with data and analysis, which I think is really interesting because some people may not know what the Human Development Index is. So he introduces that, explains what it is and how different countries compare on that index. And I really love how he has this balance between exploratory and explanatory data, right? So he explains it, and then at the end you can explore and dig into the data yourself, which is something we rarely see. It's either one or the other usually. You don't usually see both.
True.
So I think it's a really nice touch.
Andy, what do you think?
Sarah's last point is great to then go that extra mile and put the exploratory aspect on the end. And I think if you did this in a business environment, you'd be thinking, how can I introduce a data set to somebody? You've got to go through, this is what the measures mean. This is what the impacts are. This is the inaccuracies. These are the choices we've made when analyzing it. And now you can explore the dashboard. And he's managed to kind of capture that training process or that development process in a viz itself. So he's used long form in a very clever way. And I really recommend people go and click on this one as well, and all the others. But I'm kicking myself. I didn't take a video clip of the way the animation works on this bar chart because it's just 4 sorted bar charts. But when you do the interaction and say highlight the UK or your own country, it's really interesting seeing how your country moves up and down relative to others as you change the index that you're looking at. So I really enjoyed this exploratory section at the end. I thought it was a really sort of the addition that just added the bit at the top. So congratulations to Simon. Now, I also believe Alex and Simon work at the same place. Is that right? Sarah, can you confirm that?
That is right, yeah. I think Alex works for Simon. So.
He works for Simon. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, that is...
You couldn't write it.
You couldn't write it. I have no idea what is going to be going on in that company for the next 3 weeks. And
interesting competition.
Yeah, indeed. So there, gosh, everybody, we've got a bunch of finalists.
Yeah, congratulations to all of our top 3. I'm excited to see what you guys build out for Iron Viz live at Tableau Conference-ish. But at this point, Andy, back over to you. With a few
I just get Lindsay and Sarah. We just wanted to bring you in for just a couple more reflections on this. Sarah, what do you think the finalists are feeling like right now? What do you think is going through their mind?
I mean, for me personally, like, emotions were all over the place. So I was like excited, scared, happy, just confused, you know, disbelief, you know. I almost wanted to just shut myself away without my phone because I just couldn't escape like notifications. It was actually Lorna Brown that told me that I'd won, and I didn't believe her. So I was like, and I was at work, I was in meetings, and I didn't have an opportunity to actually go and check. So I just couldn't focus. Yeah.
And Lindsay, you said a bit earlier that the time you relaxed was at the start of the 20-minute section in the live event itself. Is that what you said?
At the end of it, as soon as it was over.
So you weren't relaxed during the build?
No.
Okay. All right. Okay.
I don't really even remember any of it.
Yeah, I think you know, with the for those who aren't too familiar with Iron Viz, they're going to get given their data set tomorrow, I believe, and they have. You might have heard the term Sue Vizor referred to a couple of times in. They get some support, both technical and you know, motivational, and shoulders to cry on. So we really help the contestants through this, but you know, there's a big prize at stake, so it's going to be fairly interesting. Sarah, what do you want to see in the what's the best thing about the live event for people who think they might who haven't seen an Iron Viz before?
Yeah, so every year it's different, but I mean, for me, it's always good to see some element of surprise and just, you know, see these visits coming together. You don't know where they're going to go. For me, last year it was Lindsay, you know, with what she did with the calculations. The whole crowd just like, wow, you know, what was that? What just happened? And I think, you know, it's just little touches like that that make it really special. Yeah,
fantastic. Lindsay, what are you looking forward to in this year's event?
Yeah, I'm super curious to see how it's going to work for being virtual versus live or like in person. I think there's a lot of advantages to doing it over Zoom or however it's going to be done, because you don't have the distractions of the audience, which was definitely something that messed me up a lot. And you also get to use like your own computer and your own equipment. So I think that was like just like something little that you don't really think about, and then you get there and you're on a totally different computer and you're trying to make your way through it. So I'm just really curious to see how the event is going to be different. And I'm also just I always love the live event because I never know who's going to win. And anytime you go and talk to anyone, like everyone has a different opinion on who should have won. So it's just super fun to like be in that environment and see all the work that everyone is making. Yeah,
absolutely. Okay, well, look, we've got two small pieces still to do. I think I'm sad we have, well, obviously, it's great that we're going to do Iron Viz. We're going to do it virtually. Obviously, I have no excuse to buy a new suit or a new pair of shoes, so I'm a bit sad. But I think we're going to, you know, it's going to be a really good event. So, Keisha, tell people about the Iron Viz event. What can we share about what's going to happen with Iron Viz as part of the Tableau conference?
What can we share? I don't know. The details are always in flux, Andy. You know how it is. But what we do know is that Tableau conference, we're going to take a spin, as we mentioned, it's going to be virtual this year. So a little bit different, a little bit of new spins, but also some of your same favorites will be there as well. And it's going to be happening on October 6th through the 9th, 3 jam-packed days of awesome content, new features, and of course, Iron Viz will be smack dab in the middle of that. Make sure you stay tuned. But before we go, I think we have one more final announcement. Is that right, Andy, from Emily?
It's from Emily, yes.
Yeah.
Tell us something else about TC.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we do, in addition to all of the great content that Tableau is going to have for us over those 3 days, we're actually going to have our finale of the Data Fam Community Jam. We have information over those 3 days. We're going to have fireside chats with Francois Agenstadt, who's the Chief Product Officer at Tableau. We're going to have a fireside chat with Andy Kriebel, since he has so much experience using Tableau Public and really celebrating those 10 years of Tableau Public and kind of how it's evolved over those 10 years. We also are going to have a fan favorite at conference. We're going to have the tips battle with Lorna, Eden Brown, and Jeffrey Schaefer. And 2 technical talks that you do not want to miss from Sadal McCall and Heidi Kalb. So much good stuff that we're packing in at that conference. So I cannot wait to see it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, thanks, Emily. Yeah, you know, again, the efforts you go to make sure there's some really good community engagement at the events has always been fantastic in the live shows, and I'm just delighted that you're helping the team contribute to the virtual event too. You are going to get a link to the virtual event, so you can register now. It's free, it's virtual, so wherever you are in the world, we can go further in the world than ever before with the reach for TC virtual. I should know the official name of it, but it's Tableau Conference.
Conference-ish.
Tableau Conference-ish. That is right.
That's
Thank
it.
you, Keisha. Keep me real. All right. Well, with that, Keisha, it's been a pleasure to co-host this with you.
Yes.
Great to see you. We'll be seeing you again in a few weeks for the live event.
That's right.
So thank you very much. Thank you everybody who's contributed on the panels and the Q&A. Thank you if you entered Iron Viz, because it's just amazing seeing this thing grow and grow and grow, and the skills you all develop. Love it. Talk about this, hashtag Iron Viz. And that's it. Until the week of the 6th of October, thanks for joining, and we bid you farewell. Have a fantastic day wherever you are. Take care.
Take care.